Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan. Before free agency opens, I want to get through all of the news that I haven't talked about so far, as well as some stuff about the leaks and the NYXL situation, all that stuff. And also later tonight, I plan on doing my thoughts on where I think each team will go, what directions and stuff before free agency opens, with what we know right now. So tune into that if you're interested. And yeah, so looking at the official stuff first, Lip is official for the Atlanta Reign, as well as Hawk and Vigilante coming back. So the roster, as we know it right now, confirmed is Lip, Stalker, Hawk, and Vigilante. Now, this roster is pretty star-studded. Obviously, they have some big names. Any team that has Lip is automatically a contender. He's legitimately the best hit scan in the world. So that's always going to be good. Now, there are concerns you can have with Gator and Hawk being presumably, like, Gator's your head coach and mostly a Korean team. Hawk's the only tank that we know of right now and seems to be the only planned tank. So you can always have some communication issues, but I think those kind of concerns are a bit overrated and they'll work themselves out. It's kind of my thoughts, as long as they get, a good assistant coach that knows Korean so that they can translate that stuff really well, everything like that. I think it'll be fine and I'm very much excited to see what this team can do. I think Hawk can be a full flex tank and do everything. Yeah, you can have some concerns with Reinhardt, with Winston, but I think that with time on those characters in the metas that they would be in, I think he'll be fine. So yeah, very excited for what Atlanta's cooking. Should be cool. Should be good. Also, Paris Eternal signing Empress as their head coach. A lot of results from NA and EU contenders. A lot of high rated results. Don't know too much about coaching, but seems like a good choice. The first woman head coach in Owl, I believe. So, and then also Ascoft head coach for Vancouver now. He was the head coach in relief of Laurie to end the season for Boston, and presumably I would expect them to bring over some Boston players. Would be my initial reaction because there was some stuff you could build off with Boston, and they were not doing that. So maybe Ascoff's like, hey, pull up. And then finally, Shanghai's. We knew that they were releasing everyone, but they've retired everyone's number of the big guys, and Void's retired also. I'm supposed to have that. Void is retired, and also the numbers, the jersey numbers for the big guys. Fleta is the Yaki, Fate, Lip, Lee Jae-gon, Void, and head coach Moon and assistant coach Kong. All great stuff. Very classy move. I like jersey retirements, especially for big notable players like this. This was an era of Overwatch, right? They were the best Overwatch 1 team ever. Undisputed, in my opinion. It was impossible to improve it. Overwatch 2 didn't have the same success. But I'm sure a lot of these players can find success. Maybe not to the same extent, but some success next season. And then Seoul Dynasty. Wizard Hyung is gone as an assistant coach. And Prophet is gone. Finally, they do not have anyone in the roster. This is truly the end of an era. Like, I thought Prophet would be a member of the Seoul Dynasty until he couldn't be no more, is what I truly believed with 100% of my being, that we would see Prophet in a Seoul Dynasty jersey until he wanted to retire. And then here is something from Genji Arnold. Let me do this for a second. Oh no, it's not. Wait, hold on, team. Pause champ there, just so you can see everything. Whoops, there. Just to clear up any confusion, we never tried to trade him. We put together an offer with what we could with our local sponsors and our budget, very limited, and also let him know we would stand by the offer and he could look elsewhere. At the same time, I don't think he should be happy with the offer. It was too low given how amazing a player he was. He's an amazing player in person, so he understood the realities of the situation with a lot of maturity / professionalism, and honestly, it just really sucks. I always assumed he would retire with us here, and so did everyone else. So yeah, Seoul Dynasty's going through it. Expect them to just pick up contenders players, honestly. They're not going crazy with it, which is just tragic. A team like Seoul, with the, them being Seoul, the only Korean Owl franchise, you want them to go all in because Korean players want to play out of Seoul. They want to represent Seoul. All that kind of fun stuff. And it's just like, fuck, man. APAC is not going to be nearly as good this season, and they were already below NA last season in the end. So I don't know. It might be fun. We might get some good contenders talent you would have otherwise. That's the only upside I can see. But fuck, man, that's rough. And now I'll talk about some of the leaks. So leaked stuff, pretty much everything from Leak Mafia. Yiska and Halo have been quiet. They've been quite quiet. So Houston are expected to go full Korean. Rumors say Kellen is likely. It's unclear if Pelican, Last and Merit are staying. Also, Smurf is trialing for Houston among other teams, and apparently they're trialing a bunch of flex DPS, including Spectra. And once again, we don't know if Pelican Merit's going anywhere. I like Spectra. I do like a player like Top Dragon a bit more if you're getting a flex DPS from contenders, but Spectra is pretty solid. Probably not as good as Pelican, but I like Spectra. Obviously, whichever team lands Smurf is they've landed a home run, right? There's no better tank you could pick up, especially if you just want to go one tank. Maybe you could argue someone, but he's locked in on Florida. So other than that, any team that wants to be a good team, but like allocate their funding more efficiently should go for Smurf. Smurf is worth two players' contracts, and he probably won't get two. Like, you know what I mean? If you want a good main tank and a good off tank, Smurf is worth the value, the money that you're saving. You can put that elsewhere. Every team should be just going for Smurf as much as possible. And honestly, it'll probably come down to his decision who throws the most money at him and things like that. So, but yeah, looking good for Houston. Even though you're losing Merit, maybe if you lose Merit, it's not great. There's no replacement for Merit, I believe, on the market. I can't think of a single player who I would rate at the same level as Merit based off their last season. So that would be a massive blow. But Smurf, if you get Smurf, it's good. But if you get instead like a Kellen Spectra, then I'm like, are you really improving your roster? It'd be kind of hard to justify that, I think. Also, Shock favorites to sign Max to no one's surprise. Bliss is not the favorite main support, not the favorite for the main support position. And then looks like Vindame would be. So if you get Vindame, Finn Violet, you're fucking set. And yeah, people can say Violet's one of the most controversial, like not controversial, like people don't know if he's good or bad. There are very divided opinions. In my opinion, Vindame would be an upgrade for the team. I don't think that should be too far fetched, but people believe Violet's like top 5 sometimes. So I don't know. I think Violet has merit to be on the roster. Very flexible. You can play your double flex support very well. You can play if you need a meta where you flex sometimes off the main support, off the flex support. Violet's your go-to guy. That being said, Vindame's flex support was suitable, I thought. But in my opinion, if you had a Finn, Violet, Vindame support line, I would expect Finn and Vindame to get more playtime overall. But who knows? That would be good for Shock. Any team that picks up Vindame should be another hot commodity. I think he's the best all-around main support. So, and his Lucio will only get better. The decision-making will only get better, and it's already fucking good. So big stuff there from Shock. Obviously, getting Max is good. I would like to see them get another tank besides Max. I'm not sure if I trust his Winston that much. Jungbin is like the main tank on O2 Blast, right? Now Max has played a little bit of Winston when he had to, when they wanted to switch off of the Sigma stuff in contenders this season, but I'd still like to see them get a main tank beside them, just a little bit. Next up, we have several rumors floating around that the K and Hoppa are in talks with Boston. Now, if Decay goes back to Pre, I think that speaks good on Pre, but Decay can't afford to have another off season. You know what I mean? Like, Decay was good this season, but he needs to actually get some results that weren't just a Mickey Mouse Hog Zarya comp. You know what I mean? And with Hoppa as your tank, Hoppa's a really good, well-rounded tank. Honestly, if you want to run Hoppa as your solo tank, I think you could get away with it. And then we'll just see what else they do from there. But I don't know. Decay is his contract probably won't be as large as it has been in the past. So maybe you can build around him better. And if he plays up to the level that he was, hyped to be, and he's played very well, but he needs to do that consistently. He needs a good team around him. Decay needs a lot of things to work out, I think, is what we've realized. And I think Hoppa's on the right track. Probably better than Kalios or Mag. So I like that. And then finally, Mayhem getting rejected by Saudi players. Maybe Majed was putting in a bad word for them, or something like that. But that's not great. That's not a great look. Mayhem have not been a well, I don't want to say well liked, but they've had some issues with players in the past. Xe was speaking out against them. Adam got dropped through a DM whenever he could have been talked to. Um, Majed on off rolls and stuff. Maybe he didn't like that. Maybe there was some stuff going on behind the scenes we don't know. That's purely speculation. But the other two are real. Um, so I could see players saying, you know what, Florida, I don't want to be treated like that. You know, like just having that on your track record twice in one season, it doesn't look good, and you're not shaking up your management at all. You're not shaking up your coaching staff. It won't change. So I don't dislike that. I don't. I understand it. I understand that. And now, finally, I want to talk a little bit about the New York Excelsior situation. So, if you don't know, New York were trying to build a team of marginalized genders for next season. It is currently not happening because they realized it was a horrible idea. Like it would have been catastrophic. Just not good. Um, and our Mori does a really good thread on about this, about how like this is an awful idea because there's not a lot of marginalized gender owl level players. The only one I can think of personally is Aspen. I think Aspen could have a shot. Um, and like it just like the amount of hate, all this stuff, the the microscope they would be under to perform, it would be horrible. It'd be horrible for the entire esports world, right? You say, oh, it'd be like, oh, these guys aren't performing. They're all marginalized genders. It just doesn't work. Men are superior. Things like that would happen, um, and that would be awful. And it's a horrible PR stuff, basically. So check out this thread, I guess, if you want to know more. But like, there's any opinion that isn't like this would be a horrible idea and just as a really bad PR stunt is just wrong, simply put. Um, yeah, straight up. Now, Halo said that this came from the owners and they tried to push it and it wasn't a GM decision. That I think that's an important distinction. It's still just as bad, but it just kind of says that like the owners are clearly far removed from the game, right? They don't know the sheer level of skill difference, the skill disparity between the Calling All Heroes tournament and actual Owl level, right? They're just unaware. They're simply clueless. They're simply clueless. Um, just a horrible PR stunt. And then Aspen even because Aspen was offered a contract, and she was like, "I want Owl. I want to join Owl based on skill and not because of my gender." The fact that NYXL is wanting to make an all marginalized gender team that they know will struggle is frustrating. Put resources into Calling All Heroes or OD if you want to truly help. And this is just a realist shit. And this is so much respect for just being like, "Fuck that." You know, I'm good enough to make it on my own. I don't need this like almost like a handout, I guess, or just a I don't know. Almost like they were trying to use marginalized people. Like I don't know. Just wild. Just a wild concept. Um it blows my mind that this even made it through. Like that this even got to the point that it could be leaked. I don't understand how it could have gotten this far even. Uh but yeah, legitimately wild. But that's gonna be it for me. Again, I will be doing a stream where I'm gonna like try and do my best to place what I think teams will look like in the end. Probably won't do a good job. It'll be fun to talk about players and what I think the philosophies of different teams will be and things like that. So tune in around probably like 6 p.m. I would wager I'll probably look to start the stream somewhere around there. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you really like it. Have yourself a good one and deuces.